Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast. And it's lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Ms. May AlMansoori, who is the Group Head of Emiratisation for ENBD. My name is Sanjiv Purushotham, and I run my company, Bridge DFS, which basically works on market access for fintech into Middle East and Africa. And I representing APIX, which is the largest fintech and bank collaboration platform based out of Singapore. And it's going to be an exciting discussion that we're going to have to try and understand a lot about the Ruwad program, what it does. And let me just start off by asking you, tell us a little bit about yourself. You have an extremely interesting
Thank you so much.
story to tell about how you started with the NBD, went to Emirates, and then came back to NBD, your psychology background, your big data background. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, May.
Thank you so much. So good to know that I started my career in Emirates NBD. So I joined when I was a fresh graduate myself. A lot of my experience has a lot to do with the Ruwad program creation. When I joined Emirates NBD as a fresh graduate, I honestly just wanted a job. And I think most of the younger population will always just pick a specific position just because there's a vacancy. And that was the beginning of my career. I didn't really join a vacancy that was very much suitable to my career aspiration. I followed my career in crisis management, psychology, humanitarian aspect. And when I came back to Emirates NBD, I came back to the HR field. And I brought back my aspiration in terms of how can I reflect a program that will not only put Emiratis into a box, specifically fresh graduates into a box of, this is the only vacancy we have. Are you interested to join? Yes or no? A lot of my career has to do with how can we change our concept, our mindset, and selecting our future leaders and our future fresh graduates through programs that will give them the bandwidth of preparing themselves to selecting what are the most suitable positions for their career and developing them for that position. So I hope this is a bit of background about it. It
makes a lot of sense. So knowing you, May, that really makes a lot of sense because if I recall correctly, you started off in Emirates NBD. As you said, you took up a job. One of the big ambitions was to buy a car. Like all of us, we take up a job to buy a car.
I agree with you.
And then after that, you went into Emirates. And one of the things that you actually worked on was predictive modeling
analytics,
for where aircraft are going to land at what time and so on and so forth. And that actually began your first connection into Singapore. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. As you know, IATA is in Singapore. So a lot of our certificates are under IATA and you have to travel to get it. So very much relation to APIX in Singapore as well.
Fantastic. And that love of predictive analytics, the numbers, later on, you then fulfill that by taking another master's, a second master's, over and above your human resource master's and you went into big data and predictive analytics. Is that correct?
It is. And good to know that within Emirates NBD, we focus a lot on how can we prepare our Emiratis into future related jobs. And in order to do so, we have done an intensive analysis actually in terms of what universities, what majors we need to focus on in order to educate our UAE nationals and ensure that they have a path within Emirates NBD future aspirations. So the big data and business analytics degree that I have got is actually sponsored by Emirates NBD. And I have other 11 colleagues from the bank that have went through this program and we're graduating. Actually, we graduated, but our graduation ceremony is, I think, next week. So congratulations to all.
Congratulations. Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
So the interesting thing is that when you look at the selection criteria, right? When I first saw the selection criteria for the Ruwad program, I was blown away, right? Because it wasn't about technical aspects or specific areas relating to a person's graduation or whatever else you were doing. It was all about some really phenomenal, deep insights into the person's behavior, their leadership qualities.
Yeah.
So could you explain for everybody, how is it that Emirates NBD is going far ahead, the group, how is it going so far ahead of competition in terms of being able to identify and create leadership talent?
Thank you for that. Let me start by telling you a bit about the Ruwad program and how we created the program. So the program creation is basically focused on the top 10% quartile of fresh graduates every year. So we focus on those Emiratis that have leadership potential and talent potential. And in order to do so, we created this assessment center that focuses on what are the competencies we need within Emirates NBD Group. And those competencies exploration was as part of meeting our executives within the bank and identifying what are they looking for and how did this competency actually support them reach this level. So a lot of our assessment center was based by executives' stories that we were able to identify and understand based on what competencies they really need in order to reach to this level. The assessment center that we've done has several layers into it. Most of our assessment center component includes leadership potential. So you'll notice that we put our candidates into occupational personality assessment. We put them into pitching a specific product. And good to know that we are actually revamping our selection process for Ruwad. This year, we have a great partnership with several different entities in order to launch our Ruwad hackathon. So our upcoming selection process is very much an assessment center that has a facelift or an update with identifying business acumen, technology potent, and also ability to come up with a product start till end. That's how the hackathon is going to be designed.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And so when you talked about the selection process, I think it's a very prestigious program.
Yeah.
From a UAE point of view, right? Very few candidates actually qualify. So maybe you want to give us a flavor of just how selective you are. So
I always say this, if you have top talents in the UAE, they're either going to Emirates NBD or they're going to go to one of our government entities. We do really take on high volume of UAE nationals every year. Approximately 200 fresh graduates are joining Emirates NBD every year. And that's only from fresh graduate level. So we do understand the market really well in terms of the majors that are upcoming within the country, the locations or the universities where we can really find talents within the country. So we have a lot of support from the government as well in terms of identifying these talents. We have partnership with definitely NAFIS, the Prime Minister Office. We do have partnerships with the Central Bank, Emirates Institution of Finance, in order to support us with these big initiatives and big ambition within Emiratisation.
So in terms of just to give them a flavor, just to give everybody a flavor of, you select about 20.
Yes.
Out of a pool of how many applicants?
So our applicants could vary between 3,000 to 5,000. And we do receive those applicants on a yearly basis. Our first year was very much our biggest applicant numbers. And then we started to realize that the public really enjoys the program. And we started to see that on a yearly basis. The volume actually kept on increasing of those applicants that are interested in the Ruwad program. Now, good to know. And I always am urged to share this important point. Whoever is not selected for the Ruwad program, we don't really just reject them from Emirates NBD. We do have other positions in which we put them into or other programs that we put them into. As you know, Ruwad is a very elite program. We only hire 20 a year, but those that haven't really been selected as top 20, our top 100 are moved into another program. Some of them actually get the golden ticket. So they actually get offered immediately for another program, which is called Bidaya, My Beginning, in which that program hires around 200 a year.
Fantastic. And so let's try and understand a little bit about, a little more about the selection criteria, right?
Yeah.
And you develop these selection criteria. So we're going to talk a little bit about, expand a little bit about how you do that. What is the process? We're all very curious. We all want to know.
Yeah.
and I'm more curious because I want to see that what you expect when these two Ruwad future leaders go across to Singapore and they are now with APIX, they're sitting in there.
Yes.
What do you expect to happen there? And what's the process?
Okay, perfect. Let me tell you a bit about the program dynamics.
Right.
So once we have selected our Ruwad, our final 20 Ruwad, we have our own partners within the program. Our partners are definitely the big four. We have Dell, one of our partners, and we're very delighted to have APIX as one of our new partners. We are regularly in the scout of having more and more partners because we do believe that having more strategic partners will give us this insight of how Singapore run their business and how can we actually expand our horizon with Ruwad into Singapore offices. Now, within the Ruwad dynamics or the framework of the program, they start with 12-month secondment with one of our strategic partners. The secondment is basically understanding how international organizations are run and be able to really compare themselves as Emiratis who work for these companies. So one of our Ruwad will be definitely working for APIX for 12 months.
Correct.
You should be able to consider them as one of your own. Give them assign them a specific tasks. It could be international assignment task where they have to be physically in Singapore. We also have the opportunity to fill a specific vacancy within APIX. So if you have, let's say, a business analyst role, you can come back and say, May, we're interested in this Emirati to fill this role. We're very transparent in terms of our candidates pool with our partners. So we have this agreement that you will be selecting the most suitable individuals based on their majors, experience, and probably interview. That matches the culture of APIX. Now, once they're back from their 12 months journey, they will go for a leadership development program internally within Emirates NBD. And we put them for rotation in different departments so that they get a feel of, am I really going to do well in finance, or do I need to move to this department? So we actually give them the exploration opportunity to test different environments within the organization. And then eventually we put them into international assignments. So we put them in one of our international offices within Emirates NBD, such as Singapore as well, Egypt, KSA. And then we end up their 24 months journey. So it's a 2 years journey into a specific destination position. So this whole journey prepares them for a specific role that they will be happy to go for. They understand it really well and they know what they're signing up for.
And I think what you just said about they know what they're signing up for, that's very critical, because while you're giving them the freedom to think, at the same time, it's very intensive, right? And you also depend very deeply upon your partners to then give you feedback about the Ruwad future leaders, correct? So tell me a little bit more about that. What do you expect from your partners like APIX or like Bridge DFS? What do you expect us to be able to tell you about the Ruwad future leaders?
So we definitely expect a commitment from our partners to put our Ruwad into more managerial positions, more rare or future-related roles within the organization. We also expect a regular progress update. So we do connect with our partners on a regular basis to check if our Ruwad are actually delivering the expectation of APIX. We do believe that our partners will be able to give this different flavor into our Ruwad journey. So we want to listen to your opinion. We want to see how you see them fit for APIX senior roles as well. So we do have this ability to benchmark somehow with our partners on a regular basis.
Fabulous. So one of the things is that, okay, so I'm very proud to represent Singapore here.
Thank you. I'm proud to have you as well.
My beautiful city. But at the same time, I'm also as much a resident of Dubai. So I love switching between Dubai and Singapore. There are two homes for me. And in Singapore, of course, the two things are, we love food. We absolutely love our food. And we work very intensely, right? So the two things that we love. I think one of the benefits that we're going to see coming out of the Ruwad program for the leaders is the exposure to an extremely thriving fintech ecosystem and a banking fintech collaboration in Singapore. We know about the Singapore FinTech Festival, which is probably the largest fintech festival in the world, if I'm not mistaken. So I expect that the Ruwad future leaders will be participating in some of our prep for the Singapore FinTech Festival, gives them exposure to a broad variety of financial technologies and policy making situations in before the festival. How does this collaboration offer an opportunity for wider banking collaboration? What I mean by that is that banks, by and large, not Emirates NBD, but banks by and large have been a little conservative about bringing on technology from the outside.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of understanding of, will the Ruwad future leaders be once they get into that, they'll be looking at a lot of technology which probably would be new for ENB for Emirates NBD. And how do you absorb all of that into your bank, that new thinking? What's the process that you would use to absorb the fresh new ideas into the bank?
I'm very happy you asked me this question. So I'll tell you why. Around 4 years back, probably 5 years back, we actually started a project called Future Ready.
Okay.
This project was driven by HR. So we actually did a lot of analysis in terms of what do we really need in the future? What do we need to prepare ourselves for? As you know, we don't want to be in the dark when it comes to the future roles. Do we actually need more branches? Yes or no? Do we need more Emiratis in specific fields? Can we ensure that our employees will remain employable in the next 5 years?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's one of the analysis that we've worked on. So imagine the Ruwad program was one of the results of the Future Ready project. So within the Future Ready project, we had the big umbrella, and under it was how can we ensure that our whole employees, not just Emiratis, all employees are employable in the future? Yes or no? What type of roles are going to be in the rise in the next couple of years? And then we looked into what kind of future leaders do we want to have in the organization? Do we need to upskill, reskill our current management? Yes or no? And then another point was mentioned, do we need to start preparing our future leaders for the next upcoming years? So that's how Ruwad program has started. And the meaning of Ruwad in Arabic is pioneers.
Pioneers.
So that's very much to do with how can they be ready to not just be future leaders, but also digital leaders, data-centric leaders, leaders that will be able to speak different languages, coding languages. We do put our Ruwad in different data analysis courses. So a lot to do with the Ruwad program has a lot to do with how can they be ready for the future and how can they lead future teams, cross-functional teams, working from home kind of teams, or teams that barely meet each other due to someone working in a different city. So we really wanted to create this program in order to serve the future of work culture.
Fantastic. So one of the things, of course, that comes up is when you bring in, how do you're using the Ruwad program. When did you start the Ruwad program, just out of curiosity?
4 years back.
4 years back. Okay, fine. So Emirates NBD has been running the program now for the last 4 years.
Yes.
And interestingly, one of the things that you want to start looking at, right, in this whole process is attracting talent, not just from UAE itself, but many Emiratis now are studying globally, right?
Yes.
So is this a magnet to bring them back? And tell me more about that.
So part of the Ruwad program is to look into the global mindset within the Emirati population. And when you think of the global mindset, it would be a really easy tick to have someone who studied in Yale University or London College.
London School of Economics.
Exactly.
Right.
So we do have different universities that can easily tick on that box of global mindset. We do have partnerships with Ministry of Foreign Affairs, universities on attracting youth in different countries as well.
So when you bring in all this talent from new ideas from different places, right? Yeah. And I understand that because I come from, living in Singapore, you understand that you cannot only be looking at your own ecosystem.
Yes.
So we actively send, our children out to go and study. My son, for example, is studying in UBC in Canada, right? He's doing his engineering there, not because he can't do engineering in Singapore, but he needs that, completely that exposure.
Yes. It has a lot to do also with how their personality has changed, being more independent, living in the dorms. So I think that also supports in our shortlisting process.
Absolutely. So I can correlate to this so easily. My son is, he's served in the army in Singapore. He's like very disciplined and all of that. And then after 2 years of army, he then goes and does his engineering. But in his engineering, he opens his mind completely to a totally new world.
Yeah.
And all he wants to do is he wants to go back to Singapore because he's got all this new learning that he wants to take back, right?
True.
So it's amazing. And I love that. I can totally relate to what you're talking about in terms of bringing the talent back. And, that's why I think Singapore and Dubai have so much of close relationship. And that's why I love flying between the two countries. But
we have a lot in common. Singapore
we have
and Dubai.
A lot in common. and I admire Dubai in so many ways for what you've done. And especially Emirates NBD. I used to be a very proud customer of DBS Bank, my own, but now I think Emirates NBD is pretty good, right?
Thank you so much.
It's a very, very good bank.
Thank you.
So what advice do you have? So before do you have any plans of making this program bigger, better? Anything else that you want to talk about?
Good to know that within our partnerships with, for example, APIX as a new partner as well, we do ensure that we have this open culture of learning. So we continuously invite our partners for regular catch-up, benchmarking. So it is definitely opening the horizon in terms of benefiting from both ends on the Emiratization agenda and how we can explore more within the Emiratization agenda for other countries. We do see ourselves as Emirates NBD standing really strong with our Emiratization agenda due to hiring in volumes, working closely with the government. So we do our best to share our knowledge as well with our partners in this spectrum. So I do look forward to work more and more with different partners in terms of even promoting their own Emiratization programs and how can they really benefit the biggest agenda, which is Emiratization in the country. So we do support that as well, like hand-holding some of the smaller organizations too.
So two things. One, of course, is skills of the future, which is like something like soft skills of the future, right?
Yes.
But more importantly, you focused on skills of leadership for the future. And that's a completely new category for me, at least, and admirable. The second thing is women in financial services and institutions. In the Ruwad program, I've seen so many energetic, brilliant young women, right? You yourself.
Thank you.
Right? And a whole lot of people who are in the bank who are from women. So tell us more about, how women are benefiting from this program. Is there any specific agenda to encourage women more, or is it just that women are very, very talented? I mean, extremely talented.
Definitely. Let me tell you a bit about diversity in Ruwad itself. So we focused on how can we ensure that the program is diverse in terms of universities, degrees. You'll notice we have some individuals with mechatronics and robotics, nuclear engineering, mathematicians as yourself, and actually mathematicians do really well in banking. We have finance, accounting degrees. So we really worked on how can we include most of the majors within Ruwad program. And then the second part was definitely the gender. Within the gender, we ensured that we always hire around 50-50 of female and male genders. And I'll tell you, we actually struggled with increasing the number of female in the program because we do have to travel within the program into different cities. So it's part of the program design. Some of our female Emiratis that couldn't travel due to specific family matters, we ensured that they do virtual international assignments in their journey. But we do expect equal opportunities for both genders. Diversity can't be really high because we're actually hiring Emirati fresh graduates, so we're limited into that, but we're not limited into majors, genders. We're not limited into leadership potential, specific skill base that we notice some is much higher than others. And we wanted to have this diversity.
So now what's going to happen is when this podcast goes out, a lot of young Emirati youth are going to be looking at this, and they're going to be looking to you, and I'd like you to just look at them and give them your words of advice of what you think they should be looking at doing to be able to be successfully selected into the Ruwad program.
Okay, so it's very important to remind yourselves that...
And please feel free to speak in Arabic. I mean, if you would like to.
I might prefer to keep it in English just for the
the larger audience.
But I would like to remind every female Emirati who's joining Emirates NBD, sky's the limit. You don't need to be exceptional to stand out in Emirates NBD. You just need to deliver your specific mission, agenda, and you will definitely stand out in our organization. We are, as female, we're sometimes more pressured in terms of you need to do exceptional job in order to be compared with the male gender. So I really don't want us to look into that differently within the Ruwad program. We see female and male exactly the same within the Ruwad program. But if I may share another announcement, probably it would be more convenient for our discussion. Please, if you are a fresh graduate aiming to become a future leader, would love to become the next CEO of Emirates NBD, join Ruwad program. We're opening our next cohort very soon, cohort 4. Check our social media, check our LinkedIn, check our websites, start applying for this program, and you will be able to join our selection process and hopefully be part of our future leaders within the organization.
Fantastic. And so in the words of Scott Galloway, who was this professor from NYU AD, the purpose of education is to make the unexceptional exceptional.
Yeah.
Right? That's the true purpose. And I think what you have done at Emirates NBD, the group with the Ruwad program, is exactly that. You take the raw talent and convert it into exceptional leadership. Anything else that you'd like to talk about, May, that I haven't covered?
It was lovely talking to you. I think it was a very much interesting discussion that we've had. I look forward to promote the Ruwad program even more and strengthen our partnership with APIX. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much on behalf of Bridge DFS and APIX. Thank you so much for this time spent with us. And I wish you all the best with the Ruwad program and with Emirates NBD's search for the best talent within the Emirates and, of course, globally.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine.